No matter what people want you to believe, don't ever turn back on your dream.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Alana here. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. So, for those of you who are new, I am a social worker who does enjoy reading tarot and all things spirituality and divination related, and because I'm a mental health advocate, I'm strongly an advocate for therapy and professional support, of course. But what I've also found is in my healing journey is how incredibly useful tarot and oracle has been in that process for me, when combined with my therapy session. So whether for me, I'm not so much using the cards during my therapy sessions, but personally, but it's something I do work with outside of that. And using for introspection and reflection and things like that. So, of course, if you want to learn more about my process and my thoughts and ideas and the decks that I use, by all means, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you always be updated on when I post my latest video. But for those of you who have been with me since the start, or before, and know what my video is about, thank you for joining me again. So in my last video, I was going over and talking a lot about the idea of empathy, and part of that was as on my spiritual journey, sort of learning about and understanding more about myself, and the kind of empath that I am. And so, as I've done the research and I've looked into it, I've come to realize, the rarity of the depths of empathy that is within me, but also realizing how much that also impacts my life overall, and so and sort of navigating those waters, if you will, of up and down emotions and things like that. So as you can see in front of me, I have been working with my cards, and in the middle of a reading for myself, I've stopped here and decided that I wanted to start recording. So what I'm using currently is I have and I'm sure you can see some of them that are in frame, but for what isn't. So to start off, I am using the full size version of Colette Baron-Reid's the Spirit Animal Oracle. And as you can see, I do have the mini as well. Yes, I tend to use sometimes the same deck, but smaller version and things like that. I have, which I'm still working with, I've got still 3 versions of the Aquarian Tarot. The larger one, which the more recent one from US Games, which is the big box set with the big book Psychic Tarot that's done by Craig Julius. Now, I know that there was some questions about what the guidebook is. So what is like. And so I'll just go over this really quick because I really like the guidebook and how it's set up. As you know, for me, I'm very much a guidebook girl here. And so, you know, we have everything is sort of divided up into chapters. You have chapter 1, which is introducing the deck itself. Chapter 2 sort of goes into developing psychic abilities, and then of course underneath we have, so under this particular heading we have understanding our Turian consciousness, energy and the human aura, chakras, psychic energy centers of the human body, clearing the mind with meditation, preparing for psychic readings, avoiding common problems on the path, and technique for self-healing. And then we have, going into chapter 3, we have psychic reception, so learning to hear clearly, learning to see clearly, using the other senses, other ways to receive psychic information. And then chapter 4. So the chapter 4, actually, I really like because I find it to be very unique. So I'm just flipping through the book here so you can quickly see. The pages, everything, yes, is in color. So, but why I like this, well, besides loving the deck, but also, you know, this is, the deck itself is an oldie but goodie. I know many of those that are in the tarot community can attest to, you know, the deck and it being, you know, a classic deck that people love. So, but what I find very helpful and useful, besides the fact that it breaks down the, you know, the different areas of the mind, you know, understanding, you know, energy and the human aura and the chakras. But one of the things that I really like is when we get to chapter 3, or sorry, chapter 4, because that's chapter 3. Is the fact that, so here we go. Chapter 4, the major arcana as a spiritual journey. So what the author decided to do was to weave the 22 cards of the major arcana into a story that facilitates the learning of each of the cards' messages. Sort of giving a brief explanation, if you will, but in story-based form. And so there's that for all 22 cards of the major arcana. And then, of course, yes, it does then go into the actual then write-up for, in chapter 5 of the major arcana. And then, of course, with chapter 6 now being the minor arcana. So I do love that a lot. And then at the back here, we have chapter 7, which is intuition and the tarot. And then it even sort of breaks down the symbolism within the cards, if you can see here. So I really like that too. Of course, there's spreads at the back, and that bibliography, and things like that. Looks like the astrological correlation to the major arcana as well. There's the minor arcana, trends in the tarot cards, pretty much like a cheat sheet, if you will, sort of. And of course the bibliography at the back. There's also a place for notes and personal interpretations of the cards. And then we have about the author. So yeah, this is, I find, is a very well-rounded guidebook in that you know, since it's come out, its release, and so with the full size, I think I've shown that. So this is the regular US Games Standard Edition of the Aquarian Tarot, that comes with the little pamphlet that sort of opens up like this. Oh. And then you have also one thing that I've noticed too, because I have all 3 copies. I have the tarot in a tin version, which sort of looks more like the newest version of the one with the guidebook, because the color of the backs are the same sort of saturated blue, sort of pastel-y blue, if you will, as opposed to the regular standard that doesn't come with the guidebook, but the little pamphlet, and that one has the very sort of deep blue back here. I think I talked about this in a video that I was doing, a collab video I did with Priscilla, and I made quick mention about the fact that the cards are actually between the 2 standards. The one with the guidebook is slightly wider, if you can see. So that's one way to tell the difference, besides of course the backs. I'm not 100% certain that all of the standard backs are this dark, but at least the copy that I got, yes it was, and it made a distinct difference between the 2. You know, which I do like, right? So and you know, and I feel like it's very fitting because of the fact that we are moving into the age of Aquarius, and the 19th, as I'm filming this, is the 22nd. It's Thursday, August 22nd. And we just we just had our full moon, blue moon, super moon in Aquarius. You know, and now we're, you know, as we're moving, you know, into the season of Virgo, which is me, and my birthday, which is coming up very fast in September. Yay! So all the piggies are really excited about that. But anyways, I, on the other hand, am kind of like, you know, why is the year going by so fast? Anyhow, so, and just like I said, the way that the guidebook is laid out, especially the big guidebook for the Aquarian Tarot, I really like that, and the way that it's broken up, I find it very useful when sort of connecting that with therapy, if you will. Actually, it was also a deck that I used in one of the group sessions that was hosted by Drea for therapists and stuff, and we each used, you know, our particular decks that we wanted to use for the exercise. And so anyway, so I've been really enjoying that. I've also and maybe because so I like to use multiple decks in my readings, and as you can see, I do layer. So when I read, it's like I start with like the base message usually, which is, you know, an oracle deck, and then as I continue, it's the meanings that each card sort of builds onto the next. But so next I've been using, which I think is I'm soon ready to put away, is the Spirit Within Tarot. And this is by Stephen Bright. It is a very glossy deck. But what I really like about this deck, besides the fact that the images are more of a silhouette, the people in the deck are more of a silhouette as opposed to you actually seeing faces and details. It's kind of giving that sort of, to me, that sort of underlining shadow perspective, if you will. So that's what I really like using this deck for. And then of course, still using, I have not been able to, and it's been probably over a month now, I have not been able to put this deck away yet. And this is the one, the From Roots to Blooms, that I did and talked about in my last video, by Haley Waite. Of course, this first edition is completely sold out now, but the creator does have plans to create a second edition, as well as additional bonus cards, an expansion pack for it, and the guidebook, of course. I think I did mention the guidebook or talked about it briefly in my last video, but the way that the guidebook is laid out is with the description, an image of the card, and questions for journaling, which to me is very much in alignment with, like I said, the idea of introspection, therapy, collab. Anyways, so yeah, so I really like that. But also what I recently started working with, and now I'm sort of bringing it down to where I've last drawn before I started this video. And that's with the Endless Oracle, by Eric Mail. And I absolutely love this deck. It's a Mirrorama inspired oracle deck, and there are 53 cards, but I did back the Kickstarter, so with the Kickstarter there were an additional 3 cards that were only available for Patreon members, but it was part of the Kickstarter, so was able to get my hands on the extra cards, and one of which is the artist that's right here. And the guidebook, for me, it's the way that the guidebook here is written, and the explanations that is given for each of the cards, that really, for me, gives a point for reflection, and food for thought, when with the cards. Excuse me. So the guidebook you have just the card with the title, but then you have the write-up. Here's the healer, or no, that's not the healer. Where's the, okay, so the healer, which is the last card here that I drew, and we have the description. So the healer, and then keywords: healing, nurturing, and the idea of being caretaker, peace, altruism. And so I'm just gonna read this part here. Oops. Lena, stop knocking things. Okay. This is a card of peace and gentleness. The healer tends to those who have left their weapons by the door and comforts them with calm strength. This card may be asking you to nurture yourself or others. It's a good time to help to heal those who need kindness and strength to lean on. However, this card is also a reminder to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And in order to help others, you must remember to be kind and nurturing to yourself as well. In larger readings, nearby cards may allude to the forces which have hurt us or others, as well as to the benefits of healing. What lies in the past that has brought you to a place of healing? Where will you go once your needs are taken care of? In the sky, Chiron, a comet named for the wounded healer, a selfless centaur who is both strong and gentle. In astrology, it is representative of our deep wounds and the ways in which we can be healed. Now, of course, there goes an explanation about now the creative sort of notes on the creation of the card and stuff like that. But the main gist of it is about the card is up here. And so I just like the way that it flows. So here, and how this sort of collates. Actually, maybe I can just show you here. So the first card, the oracle card here, and how I'm reading it, right? So we have 18. We have the deer spirit, bring a gentle touch. Okay. We have the King of Cups, which represents a person who is very much sort of the masculine sort of energy of emotions, and that governing emotions, and has that grip on and control, right? And so it's to me, that is a representation of someone who's very much attuned to their emotions. To me, that speaks, to the idea of the empath. Like even someone who is very much known for their empathy, and the way that they show empathy is very much high vibrational. So that's to me someone who is very much like what I just read in the Endless Oracle that Eric Mayle had. The idea of someone who's strong but is also gentle, kind, right? Someone who does not need to be forceful when dealing with others. So that's to me, but has been through a lot and knows they've been through a lot and carries a lot of that sort of experience. So that's to me where the King of Cups, combined with the deer spirit, sort of, I feel is honestly a representation of me that I'm discovering, right? And understanding. Then we have the Empress. So someone who is very much, connected, earthly bound, has that feminine quality, but also has that masculine ability of control over their governing over their emotions. Okay. And then so here we have the Four of Pentacles, and to me that that sort of screams the the need for self-care, right? You know, when being a high vibrational empath, you know, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot out of that particular person. And so needing for self-care, because we can be easily triggered, is definitely needed, right? So it's also remembering that and being mindful of that. And then for me, this week has been sort of emotionally taxing. You know, feeling drained, not entirely sure where or why, you know, feeling why my mood has been up and down, and trying to get to the bottom of that, right? So, and then feelings of inadequacy, you know, just anyway. So then what did I draw from Roots to Bloom? Well, on top of that, now I have 3. You already have enough because you are enough. So the idea of any doubts of my skill, this is to remind me of the strength that I have, my empathic abilities, that being one of, for me, is my superpower, my strength, right? But also remembering not to overdo it, remembering that I need to take care of myself, and also the same empathy that I'm more than always willing to give to others, I have to be more than willing to give that to myself first, right? Because even like what it's, you know, what Eric says in the in here, which I made mention of, hold on, let me just find it. Oops, there it is. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And in order to help others, you must remember to be kind and nurturing to yourself as well. So to me, that just sums up the entire, right, layering of those cards. So yeah, so it's been, you know, it's definitely been a fabulous read, and how I feel the cards sort of flow and speak with one another. And yes, as you can see here, I do have my stones. I have fluorite. I do have, this is the, what is it called? The speckled obsidian. Anyways, I'm pretty sure I may mention this in the last video when I talked about what I was sort of matching with the Roots to Bloom. And then, of course, my howlite. And this new one is just an angel soothing stone that I recently got when I went to an open house for my supplier, the divination store. So anyways, yeah, you know, and this came into in a gift bag, and when I got it and I received it, and it actually made me cry. But I realized I was, you know, I was already sensitive that day, and I was already having, you know, anyway, so yeah. But yeah, so I'm really happy and excited to be working with the decks currently that I have, you know, as I've put away some decks, and brought some new ones in, you know, into rotation. One, of course, being the Endless Oracle, and I'm really glad that, you know, I have, and actually I'm still waiting on my package, From Eric that well, it's been stuck in customs for over a week, so I'm actually really disappointed about that. But it's the expansion, the additional cards. I think there's 6 additional cards for the Endless Oracles that I'm still waiting on and was hoping to be working with right now. And of course, I think I also picked up the paper Lenormand, because of course international shipping, it would have been crazy to just pay exuberant prices just for 6 cards. No. So anyhow, but yeah, that's what I've been working with this week. I actually been working with these sets of cards for maybe the last couple of weeks or so. Time flies, so it could be longer. But yeah, and then, so of course now my next set to draw from would be from the mini version of the Spirit Animal, the Spirit Animal Pocket Oracle. Here's the size difference if you want to see the difference between the two. I feel like the larger size is a little bit more matte than the mini. The mini seems to have a bit of a gloss to it, that I'm noticing. And then as you can see, that's like how, it's size difference. So anyways, so let's see what I get from here. Let me see clearly. What message do we need to receive today, Father God? That's good. I'll probably speed this part up. And yes, I'm still very much able to riffle shuffle this tiny deck and bridge it as well. Yeah, so it does give off a little bit of a bow, but what I just do is alternate the way the direction in which I'm shuffling them. So yeah. Otter Spirit, you are never alone. No, that's too many. Look at that. It's number 42, and the otters are in the shape of a heart. And to me, that's meaningful to me because I love seeing otters, and I think they're adorable, especially when, like, because whenever I see, pictures or videos on Instagram of otters, and they're the way that they hold hands and float on their backs and even hug and carry their offspring. It's so sweet and loving, and and of course they're water animals too, so it's yeah. So for me, that represents the idea of emotional security, having that that sense of support, whether it be you know, for anyone, whether that be your support system, you know, friends, family, things like that. But in this case, what I feel this is more speaking of is the idea of my spiritual team, spiritual support, and guidance. My angels, archangels, ascended masters and teachers, my ancestral guides. You know, so even when I feel, because I often feel alone, I do live like a hermit. I do spend a lot of time by myself. So it's the reminder that even though I may feel down and out and I may feel very alone, I'm not alone. I have that support behind me. And the fact that it's a heart, the shape of a heart, I am love, the representation of love, the spiritual love from my ancestors, my guides, my angels, my family support that I have, my mother, and then the fact that it's 42, and that's how old I'm turning in a few weeks. So yeah, anyways, oh, and then of course the idea, well, 42, if we're, you know, talking numerology here, 42 adds up to 6, which is the Lover's card in the major arcana, 6 being the Lover's choice card, right? Okay. So I have Eagle Spirit, 23. Spirit has your back. I'm not alone, and Spirit has my back. Thank you. Okay. 68. Wombat Spirit, be at home. Well, thank you very much. That is where I am currently, and that's where I've pretty much been all week. I was about to say, I heard myself say, well, that's where I live. I live at home. But then again, that's pretty much an oxymoron, because isn't that where yeah. Okay. Oh, and then I have 44, Panther Spirit. Reclaim your power. I am a healer. I am an empath. I'm in charge of my emotions. I choose to work toward vibrating at the highest frequency, which is love. Because I am love. I came from love, and I will return to love. because essentially that is what we all are. Entire Mother Gaia, the universe, it's love. And then underneath I have 40, which is mouse spirit, tend to the small things. Okay. I'm gonna read the guidebook on that later for myself. But yeah, so this is again how I read. And then I wanted to show you this because this is a playing card deck that and I think I've posted pictures of this particular deck on Instagram. But this is the these are what I also want to show. Okay, so this is the Voltige deck, and it's actually by Art of Play, Dan and Dave. It is a specialty deck, playing card deck. Inside there's a little bird cage, and I think a bird. Oh, I don't even know if you're seeing that. So okay, there, and then their little bird that's there. And one thing that I really liked about this deck when I first got it, like this is I've had this deck before I even really got into tarot, actually. But so besides so let me show you here. So besides the jokers, let's see, where are the jokers? Because I do, when I'm using it for divination, I do so instead of the ace, we have the 1, but for the suits. But I and then they have the names of the characters on that for the court cards here. And I do shuffle in, when I'm using for divination, I do shuffle in the jokers. Here are the jokers, the 2 jokers. And the backs, this is the backs. And but so it comes with extra cards, and one of them being this this one, it's French, so le corps marche et le spirit voltige. I'm probably butchering this language, I am so sorry. But anyways, if those of you who could read French and tell me what it is in the comments below, that would be great. I mean, I could always Google translate that myself, but and I didn't think to do that before, but anyways, okay. And then, but here is where, so this has, okay, this is the English side, there we go. So yeah, of course it has the French and the English, but only the English for this card, not this one. So here, it's a fun fact. Did you know that a deck of 52 cards is based on the Gregorian calendar? 4 colors for the 4 seasons, 12 court cards for the 12 months, 52 cards for the 52 weeks. All the symbols on a deck of 52 are equal to 365 for the 365 days of a year. The total of each color is 91 points. Jacks, queens, and kings respectfully are equaled 11, 12, and 13 points. 91 multiplied by the 4 colors equals 364. 1 additional point is then added for the joker. A classic deck has 2 jokers, bringing the totaling value to 366 for the leap years. Bam. So yeah, right? Like and then of course we know initially too where the minor arcana of any playing card deck is pretty the suits of any playing card deck is really the minor arcana of a tarot deck. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, so this is what I've been working with most recently to date, and I wanted to share that with you, and even just sort of get you to see how I do my readings, and yeah, and then how I sort of combine that with the work that I do in therapy. Today is Thursday, and Thursdays tend to be my therapy days. So yes, I had therapy, and then I got into reading. So yeah. So of course, if you like my content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any of these decks. Do you like working with them? Are there some that you would hope to get and work with? Any particular pairings that you like? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I am love, so are you. As I am human, you are too. So on that note, make sure to take care of yourself and one another, because we are all love. And until next time, always live, listen, and learn. I love you. Bye.
Gotta love,